Sophia Wilson, a 16-year-old with a soft voice and a passion for books, had always found solace in the pages of novels. But when her parents' divorce uprooted her from her small hometown, she started over in the sprawling suburbs of Chicago. Her new school, Greenwood High, loomed large with its polished hallways and buzzing crowds of students. To Sophia, it seemed like the perfect place to reinvent herself, to shed the quiet girl label and find her place. Yet, as she stepped through the double doors on her first day, a knot of anxiety tightened in her chest. Her faded denim jacket and worn sneakers felt out of place among her peers' designer backpacks and pristine outfits. In her first class, English literature, Sophia felt a spark of confidence. The teacher, Ms. Harper, asked about the themes in Romeo and Juliet, and Sophia's hand shot up before she could second-guess herself. "It's about love, but also about how pride and conflict destroy families," she said, her voice steady. Ms. Harper nodded approvingly, but the moment of triumph was short-lived. From the back of the room came a muffled snicker. Abby Reed, the undisputed queen bee of the junior class, leaned toward her friend Tyler Morgan and whispered loud enough for Sophia to hear, "Wow, the new girl thinks she's a professor." Tyler smirked, adding, "But those glasses make her feel like a genius." The ripple of laughter from their clique stung like a slap. Sophia's cheeks burned, and she sank lower in her seat, wishing she could disappear. By lunchtime, the whispers had spread. Sitting alone at a corner table in the cafeteria, Sophia picked at her sandwich, hyper-aware of the glances and giggles from nearby tables. She overheard Abby's voice, sharp and mocking. "Did you see her jacket? I bet it's from a thrift store." The words cut deeper than Sophia wanted to admit. She'd chosen that jacket because it reminded her of her dad, who used to wear one just like it. Now, it felt like a scarlet letter marking her as an outsider. When she got home that afternoon, Sophia retreated to her room, curling up on her bed with a book she couldn't focus on. Her mom, Elizabeth, noticed the change in her mood during dinner. Setting a mug of chamomile tea in front of Sophia, she asked gently, "Sweetie, what's wrong? You've been quiet all evening." Sophia hesitated, her fork tracing circles in her mashed potatoes. "They laugh at me, Mom," she finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I don't know how to be myself when everyone wants me to be someone else." Elizabeth's face softened, and she reached across the table to squeeze Sophia's hand. "You're stronger than you know, sophomore. Give them time to see the real you." But Sophia wasn't so sure. Time, she feared, would only make things worse. The next day, Sophia steeled herself for another round of subtle jabs. She wore her favorite sweater, hoping it might blend in better, and kept her head down as she navigated the crowded halls. But Abby and her crew were relentless. During a group project in history class, Abby accidentally knocked Sophia's notebook off the desk, sending her carefully written notes scattering across the floor. "Oops, my bad, nerd," Abby said with a saccharine smile, while Tyler and their friend Mia chuckled. The teacher, distracted, didn't notice, and Sophia scrambled to pick up her papers, her heart pounding. She wanted to snap back, to tell Abby to leave her alone, but the words stuck in her throat. Instead, she bit her lip and focused on her work, determined to prove she was more than their punching bag. That evening, alone in her room, Sophia stared at her reflection in the mirror. Her hazel eyes, usually bright with curiosity, looked dull with exhaustion. She thought about her old school, where she'd had a small but loyal group of friends. They'd spend hours discussing books or laughing over silly inside jokes. Here, she felt like an alien, scrutinized for every move. Opening her phone, she scrolled to a photo of her and her best friend from back home, Ellie. On impulse, she called her. "Ellie, I don't know if I can do this," Sophia confessed, her voice trembling. "They hate me for no reason." Ellie's voice was warm and firm on the other end. "Soph, they don't hate you. They're just scared of anyone who doesn't try to be like them. You're strong. Don't let them take that away." The words lit a tiny spark in Sophia's chest, but the weight of the day still pressed down on her. The following morning, Sophia arrived at school determined to keep her head high. But during English class, Abby upped the ante. As Sophia reached for her backpack, she noticed a sticky note plastered to it with the words "Loser Library" scrawled in bold marker. The class erupted in laughter, and Abby leaned back in her chair, smirking. "What? It suits you," she said loudly, as Tyler high-fived her. Sophia's hands trembled as she peeled off the note, her throat tight with humiliation. She wanted to run, to hide, but something inside her snapped. Clutching the crumpled note, she met Abby's gaze and thought, "I'm not letting you win." It was a quiet vow, but it burned fiercely in her heart. She didn't know how, but she would find a way to fight back. The hallways of Greenwood High felt like a battlefield to Sophia Wilson. After the sticky note incident in English class, the taunts from Abby Reed and her clique grew sharper, more deliberate. Sophia, now a few weeks into her junior year, had hoped the initial bullying would fade, that her classmates would tire of targeting the quiet new girl. Instead, their cruelty only intensified, as if her silence fueled their need to break her. At 16, Sophia was used to keeping her head down, finding refuge in books and her thoughts, but the constant mockery was eroding her resolve. She felt like a tightrope walker, one misstep away from falling into despair. Abby, with her glossy blonde hair and commanding presence, seemed to orchestrate the attacks with ease. Her sidekick, Tyler Morgan, was always ready with a cutting remark, while their friend Mia amplified their efforts with sly giggles and whispered jabs. In the cafeteria, Sophia's choice to sit alone at a corner table became fodder for their ridicule. "Look, it's the loner convention," Tyler called out one day, loud enough for nearby tables to hear. Abby smirked, adding, "Maybe she's writing a novel about how boring she is." The laughter that followed felt like a physical weight, pressing Sophia deeper into her chair. She stared at her tray, her appetite gone, wondering how her simple existence could provoke such venom. The bullying wasn't just verbal. During gym class, Sophia found her locker stuffed with crumpled paper, each sheet scrawled with insults like nerd and nobody. She shoved the papers into the trash, her hands shaking, but the sting lingered. She began dreading school, her stomach knotting each morning as she forced herself out of bed. At home, she hid her pain from her mom, Elizabeth, not wanting to worry her. But Elizabeth noticed the change, Sophia's slumped shoulders, the way she avoided eye contact. One evening, as they washed dishes together, Elizabeth tried to probe gently. "Soph, you seem off. Is something happening at school?" Sophia forced a smile, scrubbing a plate harder than necessary. "Just a lot of homework, Mom. I'm fine." The lie tasted bitter, but she wasn't ready to admit how helpless she felt. Sophia's only escape was the school library, a quiet sanctuary where the smell of old books calmed her nerves. She'd spend lunch periods there, tucked behind a shelf with a novel or her journal. But even this refuge wasn't safe forever. One day, as she scribbled thoughts in her journal, Abby and Mia sauntered in, their voices carrying over the hushed space. "Oh, look, it's the bookworm in her natural habitat," Abby said, loud enough to draw stares from other students. Mia giggled, snapping a photo of Sophia with her phone. "This is going viral," Mia said, typing furiously. By the next period, a doctored image of Sophia with exaggerated glasses and a clown nose was circulating in the class group chat, captioned "Greenwood's Biggest Loser." The notification pinged on Sophia's phone, and her heart sank as she saw the comments piling up. "LOL, so pathetic. Who let her into this school?" She deleted the app, her hands trembling, but the humiliation burned in her chest. Desperate for a lifeline, Sophia called her old friend Ellie that night. Curled up under her blanket, she poured out her frustration. "Ellie, it's like they've made me their punching bag. I don't even know what I did." Ellie's voice was steady, grounding. "You didn't do anything, sophomore. They're just threatened by you. You're real, and they're not. Don't let them make you feel small." The words were a flicker of light in Sophia's darkness, but they couldn't erase the dread of facing another day. She wanted to believe she was strong, but each new attack chipped away at her courage. The bullying escalated in ways Sophia hadn't anticipated. During a chemistry lab, Tyler accidentally bumped her arm, causing her to spill a beaker of water across her lab notes. "Whoops, clumsy much," he said with a grin, while Abby laughed from the next table. The teacher, distracted by another group, missed the incident, and Sophia was left to salvage her soggy papers. She felt eyes on her, the room buzzing with stifled laughter. Later, in the hallway, she overheard Mia whispering to a friend, "She's so easy to mess with. It's almost boring." The casual cruelty of it stunned Sophia. She wasn't just a target, she was a game. By mid-semester, Sophia's grades, once her pride, began to slip. She couldn't focus, her mind replaying the taunts instead of conjugating French verbs or solving equations. She stopped raising her hand in class, terrified of drawing attention. At night, she lay awake, her thoughts spiraling. Why me? What's wrong with me? The questions had no answers, but they fed her growing sense of isolation. She considered telling a teacher, but the thought of being labeled a snitch, or worse, ignored, kept her silent. She felt trapped, a prisoner in a school that was supposed to be her fresh start. The breaking point came during the school's fall talent show. Sophia had spent weeks preparing a poetry reading, a piece about resilience she'd written in her journal. It was personal, raw, and she hoped it might show her classmates a different side of her. Standing backstage, her heart pounded, but she told herself, "This is my chance." When her name was called, she stepped onto the stage, the spotlight blinding. She began reciting, her voice soft but clear. "In shadows deep, I find my voice." But before she could finish the first stanza, a wave of giggles rippled through the audience. Abby, seated in the front row with Tyler and Mia, whispered loudly, "Is she reading her diary?" The laughter spread, and Sophia's words faltered. She saw phones raised, recording her stumble. Her throat closed up, and she fled the stage, the sound of mockery chasing her. Backstage, she sank to the floor, tears streaming down her face. "I can't do this anymore," she whispered to herself. But beneath the pain, a new resolve flickered. "They won't silence me forever." The aftermath of the talent show left Sophia Wilson reeling. The laughter from the audience, Abby Reed's biting whisper, and the sting of fleeing the stage haunted her. At 16, Sophia felt like she was shrinking, her confidence eroded by the relentless bullying at Greenwood High. Each morning, the thought of walking through the school's polished halls filled her with dread. Yet, beneath the weight of humiliation, a spark of defiance flickered. She was tired of being the target, tired of hiding. Sophia knew she had to fight back, but the how and when eluded her. The days following the talent show were a blur of whispered taunts and sidelong glances. Abby, Tyler Morgan, and Mia seemed emboldened by Sophia's public stumble. In the cafeteria, Mia accidentally bumped Sophia's tray, sending her apple rolling across the floor. "Oops, guess you're clumsy off stage too," Mia said with a smirk, while Abby laughed from a nearby table. Sophia retrieved the apple, her cheeks burning, but she refused to meet their eyes. She was learning to mask her pain, but inside, her resolve was hardening. "I won't let them win," she told herself, though the words felt fragile against the reality of her isolation. At home, Sophia's silence grew louder. Her mom, Elizabeth, noticed the change, Sophia's hunched posture, the way she pushed food around her plate without eating. One evening, as they sat in the living room, Elizabeth set aside her book and faced her daughter. "Soph, you're not yourself. Please, talk to me." Sophia's throat tightened. She wanted to spill everything. The taunts, the talent show, the crushing loneliness, but fear of burdening her mom held her back. "It's just school stress," she mumbled, avoiding Elizabeth's gaze. But Elizabeth's eyes softened with understanding. "You don't have to carry this alone," she said, squeezing Sophia's hand. The warmth of her mom's touch cracked something in Sophia, and she nodded, promising herself she'd open up soon. Seeking an escape, Sophia threw herself into a new venture, the school's debate club. She'd always loved crafting arguments, and the club offered a chance to connect with others who valued ideas over popularity. At her first meeting, she met Noah Carter, a lanky junior with a knack for journalism and a quiet intensity. Noah noticed Sophia's hesitation during a practice round and approached her afterward. "You've got a strong voice," he said, adjusting his glasses. "Don't let anyone make you think otherwise." His words, simple but sincere, felt like a lifeline. For the first time since moving to Chicago, Sophia felt seen, not as a target, but as herself. Noah became an unexpected ally. Over the next few weeks, they bonded over shared interests, books, current events, and the art of a well-timed rebuttal. One day, as they worked on debate prep in the library, Noah sensed Sophia's distraction. "You okay?" he asked, closing his laptop. Sophia hesitated, then admitted, "It's Abby and her friends. They won't stop." Noah's jaw tightened. "They're just loud because they're empty. You're stronger than they'll ever be." His encouragement stirred something in Sophia, a desire to reclaim her power. She began to wonder if she could turn her pain into action. The bullying, however, reached a new low. Abby and Tyler orchestrated their cruelest prank yet, a fake email from a secret admirer, inviting Sophia to meet at the school courtyard after class. Sophia, wary but hopeful, arrived to find Abby, Tyler, and Mia waiting with their phones out, recording her confusion. "Seriously, you thought someone would like you?" Abby said, her voice dripping with scorn. The group erupted in laughter as Sophia stood frozen, her heart pounding. "You're pathetic," Tyler added, zooming in with his camera. Humiliation washed over her, but as she turned to leave, something shifted. Instead of shame, she felt anger, a fierce, unfamiliar fire. Enough is enough, she thought. That night, Sophia broke down and told Elizabeth everything. Sitting on the couch, tears streaming down her face, she recounted the taunts, the talent show, and the courtyard prank. Elizabeth listened, her expression shifting from concern to resolve. Soph, this isn't just teasing, this is bullying, and it's wrong. We can stop this, legally and fairly. Sophia wiped her eyes, her voice trembling. But what if they get worse? What if no one believes me? Elizabeth hugged her tightly. They'll believe you because we'll have proof. You're not alone in this. The words steadied Sophia, and for the first time, she felt a glimmer of hope. Inspired by her mom's determination, Sophia confided in Noah the next day. I want to do something about Abby and Tyler, she said, her voice firm. Noah grinned. Then let's build a case. They began gathering evidence, screenshots of the group chat's mocking messages, the doctored photo from the library incident, and notes from Sophia's journal detailing each attack. Noah, with his journalism background, suggested interviewing other students who'd witnessed the bullying. To Sophia's surprise, a few classmates, like Quiet Sarah from chemistry, agreed to share what they'd seen. I always felt bad for not saying anything, Sarah admitted. You don't deserve this. The support, though small, bolstered Sophia's courage. The turning point came when Noah uncovered a crucial piece of evidence. A freshman, who'd been at the courtyard during the fake admire prank, had recorded the incident on their phone, capturing Abby and Tyler's cruel laughter and Sophia's distress. Noah showed Sophia the video in the library, his eyes bright with determination. This is it, sophomore. This proves they targeted you. Sophia watched the clip, her stomach churning, but her resolve solidifying. Let's take this to the principal, she said, her voice steady. As they saved the video to a secure drive, Sophia felt a shift within her. She wasn't just fighting for herself anymore. She was fighting for every kid who'd ever felt invisible. The battle was just beginning, but for the first time, Sophia believed she could win. Sophia Wilson stood at a crossroads. The video evidence of Abby Reed and Tyler Morgan's cruel prank in the courtyard had given her a weapon, but wielding it meant stepping into a fight she wasn't sure she could win. At 16, Sophia had spent months as the target of relentless bullying at Greenwood High, her quiet demeanor making her an easy mark for her classmates' taunts. Yet, with the support of her mom, Elizabeth, and her new friend Noah Carter, Sophia felt a shift within her. The fear that once paralyzed her was giving way to a fierce determination to hold her tormentors accountable. Armed with screenshots, witness statements, and the damning video, Sophia and Elizabeth met with the school principal, Mr. Clarkson, to file a formal complaint. Sitting in his cluttered office, Sophia clutched a folder of evidence, her heart pounding. Mr. Clarkson, a middle-aged man with a weary expression, leaned back in his chair. These are serious allegations, he said, flipping through the documents. But kids can be impulsive. Are you sure this isn't just a misunderstanding? Sophia's stomach tightened, but Elizabeth spoke up, her voice firm. This isn't a misunderstanding. It's targeted bullying, and we have proof. If the school doesn't act, we'll escalate this further. Mr. Clarkson sighed, promising to launch an investigation, but his reluctance was palpable. Sophia left the meeting feeling both hopeful and uneasy. She'd taken a stand, but the battle was far from over. Word of the complaint spread quickly through Greenwood High. Abby and Tyler, sensing the walls closing in, doubled down on their intimidation. In the hallway, Abby cornered Sophia near her locker, her eyes blazing. You think snitching will save you? She hissed, stepping closer. You're making a big mistake, loser. Sophia's pulse raced, but she held Abby's gaze. The only mistake was thinking you could keep doing this, she said, her voice steady despite her trembling hands. Abby scoffed but backed off, her confidence shaken. For Sophia, the confrontation was a small victory, proof she could face her fears head-on. Noah, meanwhile, became Sophia's strategic partner. His journalism skills proved invaluable as they organized their evidence, creating a timeline of incidents, from the doctored photo in the group chat to the talent show Humiliation and the courtyard prank. Noah also reached out to other students, uncovering stories of Abby and Tyler's past bullying. A sophomore, Liam, shared how Tyler had once mocked his stutter in front of a crowd, while a girl named Emma recalled Abby spreading rumors that cost her friends. They've been getting away with this for years, Noah said, his voice grim. Your case could change that. Sophia nodded, feeling the weight of not just her pain but that of others. The school's investigation moved slowly, frustrating Sophia. Mr. Clarkson interviewed witnesses, but some students, intimidated by Abby's influence, hesitated to speak up. Sophia felt the pressure mounting, her resolve tested by sleepless nights and anxious days. At home, Elizabeth remained her rock. One evening, as they baked cookies to ease the tension, Elizabeth said, "You're doing something brave, sophomore. Not just for you, but for everyone they've hurt." Sophia stirred the dough, her eyes misty. "What if it's not enough, Mom? What if they win?" Elizabeth hugged her. "They won't. Truth has a way of coming out." Noah's next move amplified their efforts. As editor of the school newspaper, he wrote an anonymous op-ed about bullying at Greenwood High, describing its emotional toll without naming Sophia or her tormentors. The article, titled "Silent Scars," struck a chord. Students shared it online, and a few came forward with their own stories, creating a groundswell of support. Sophia was stunned when a classmate, Sarah, approached her in the library. "I read the article," Sarah said softly. "I saw what Abby did to you in the courtyard. I'll back you up." Sophia's throat tightened with gratitude. For the first time, she felt part of something bigger than her struggle. Abby and Tyler, sensing the tide turning, tried to undermine Sophia's credibility. Tyler spread a rumor that Sophia had fabricated the evidence, while Abby posted cryptic social media updates hinting at a liar in their class. The rumor stung, but Sophia refused to back down. She and Noah met with the school counselor, Ms. Lopez, who took their evidence seriously. "This video is undeniable," Ms. Lopez said, her expression grave. "I'm recommending a formal hearing with the school board." Sophia felt a surge of hope, but also fear. Going public meant exposing her pain to scrutiny. The school board hearing was set, and Sophia prepared to face Abby and Tyler in a formal setting. The night before, she sat with Noah in her living room, reviewing their evidence. Noah showed her a new piece of proof, a group chat screenshot where Abby boasted about the courtyard prank, calling it epic. "This seals it," Noah said, his eyes bright. Sophia nodded, her nerves jangling. The hearing would be a showdown, and she knew Abby and Tyler would fight dirty. As she lay in bed that night, Sophia stared at the ceiling, her mind racing. "I'm not just fighting for me," she whispered to herself. "I'm fighting for everyone they've hurt." The thought steadied her, and she closed her eyes, ready to face the storm. The hearing loomed, a chance to demand justice, and Sophia was determined to make her voice heard. Sophia Wilson stood on the precipice of change. The school board hearing at Greenwood High was her chance to confront the bullying that had shadowed her for months. At 16, she had endured Abby Reed and Tyler Morgan's relentless taunts, from the humiliating talent show to the cruel courtyard prank. With evidence in hand, a damning video, screenshots, and witness testimonies, Sophia, backed by her mom, Elizabeth, and friend Noah Carter, was ready to demand justice. Her fear hadn't vanished, but it was overshadowed by a fierce resolve to reclaim her voice and inspire others. The hearing took place in a stark conference room, the air heavy with tension. Sophia sat beside Elizabeth, clutching a notebook filled with her thoughts and evidence summaries. Across the table, Abby and Tyler sat with their parents, their usual arrogance replaced by unease. The school board, led by Ms. Rivera, reviewed the case with grave attention. Sophia's heart raced as she was called to speak. Standing before the panel, she took a deep breath and began, her voice trembling but clear. "For months, I was mocked, humiliated, and isolated," she said, detailing the incidents with precision. "I'm not just here for me. I'm here for every student who's been hurt by bullying." Her words hung in the air, and she saw Ms. Rivera nod, her expression softening. Abby and Tyler's lawyer tried to downplay the evidence, calling the courtyard prank a harmless joke and suggesting Sophia had overreacted. But the video, played on a projector, silenced their defense. Abby's mocking laughter and Tyler's taunts echoed in the room, undeniable. Noah's group chat screenshot, where Abby bragged about the prank, sealed their fate. Witnesses, including Sarah and Liam, corroborated Sophia's account, their voices steady despite nervous glances at Abby's glare. Elizabeth spoke last, her tone unwavering. "My daughter deserves a safe school. So does every child here." The room fell silent, the weight of her words undeniable. The board deliberated for a tense hour. When Ms. Rivera returned, her verdict was clear. Abby and Tyler were found guilty of bullying. They were suspended for 2 weeks, required to attend a behavior intervention program, and ordered to issue a public apology to Sophia. Their parents were fined to cover damages, including Sophia's ruined belongings. Abby's mother tried to intervene, pleading, "They're just kids. This could ruin their futures." Elizabeth stood firm. "They made choices. So did we. Sophia felt a surge of pride watching her mom's strength, mirroring her growing resolve. The fallout was swift. Abby and Tyler's social standing crumbled as classmates, emboldened by the hearing, distanced themselves. The school newspaper, led by Noah, published a follow-up piece on the verdict, sparking discussions about bullying prevention. Sophia was stunned when students she barely knew approached her with support. "You did what I couldn't," Emma, a former victim of Abby's, whispered in the hallway. The words warmed Sophia, but she knew her victory wasn't just personal, it was a beacon for change. Abby's apology, delivered at a school assembly, was stiff and unconvincing. "I'm sorry for what happened," she mumbled, avoiding Sophia's eyes. Tyler's was barely better, his voice flat. Sophia didn't need their sincerity. The public acknowledgement was enough. She caught Noah's grin from the crowd and smiled back, feeling lighter than she had in months. Later, Tyler approached her privately, his head bowed. "I didn't realize how bad it was," he said quietly. "I'm trying to do better." Sophia nodded, her response measured. "Words don't erase pain, but I hope you mean it." It wasn't forgiveness, but it was a step toward closure. Sophia's transformation was profound. She became president of the debate club, her confidence shining in every argument. The library, once her hiding place, became a space for collaboration with Noah and new friends like Sarah. When Greenwood High launched an anti-bullying campaign, Sophia was invited to speak. Standing before the school, she shared her story, her voice strong. "Bullying thrives in silence. I broke mine, and you can too." The applause was deafening, but Sophia's greatest reward was the younger students who thanked her afterward, their eyes bright with hope. As graduation approached, Sophia received the school's Community Impact Award, a testament to her role in sparking change. She accepted it with a smile, thinking of the girl who'd once feared these halls. Abby, stripped of her former glory, faded into the background, while Tyler worked quietly to rebuild his reputation. Sophia didn't dwell on them, she was focused on her future. Accepted to a university with a strong psychology program, she planned to study ways to combat bullying, turning her pain into purpose. One evening, Sophia sat with Elizabeth on their porch, sipping tea as the sun set. "I'm so proud of you," Elizabeth said, her eyes misty. Sophia hugged her. "I couldn't have done it without you, Mom." She thought of Noah, Ellie, and the classmates who'd stood by her. Her journey had been grueling, but it forged her into someone new, someone who knew her worth and wouldn't let anyone dim her light. At the graduation ceremony, Sophia walked across the stage, her diploma in hand, as the crowd cheered. She paused, looking out at the sea of faces, some familiar, some new. In that moment, she saw not just her victory, but a legacy. "This is just the beginning," she whispered to herself, her heart full. As she stepped into her future, Sophia knew she'd carry her strength forever, a beacon for others to find their own.